Hey guys, so this is bringing you another video. Now, welcome to something different. Something that I've mentioned I might be doing, in the next couple weeks, etc. But this is Worlds content. So I've asked Riot a few weeks ago, can we make any content on Worlds? And we're not allowed to live stream it. We're not allowed to co-stream it. But they have given permission to content creators to do content basically on like older games. So I can't do it like the day of. But this game is nearing to like 4 or 5 days old now. So I'm not sure how we're going to do it. This is the first time I'm ever doing something like this. But the idea is we're going to watch it together. If you've watched this game, apparently it's a crazy one. But if you've not watched this game, then yeah, we can watch it together and see how it goes. I'm probably not going to do like a proper commentary about it. What I'm thinking, because obviously I have to watch a YouTube video from Riot themselves. We're not provided by the replay folder files, unfortunately. So if I want to have game sound, it also means we've got the commentators. So me talking over them might be a little bit messy. Obviously, I can mute it if I want to kind of do my own analysis on certain things, which we will do. But it's going to be basically an experiment episode. If you guys like the idea of this, throw a like on it. But without much further ado, we'll start with it pause, just so like we can get like the team comps and I can maybe explain what the team comps are and why maybe they've picked the champions that they have. But obviously this is G2 versus SN. Basically unanimously, when I was like, hey, we're going to do some Worlds content, what match should we watch? This one was like the one. And by the way, I've put my camera over the SN webcam place. I didn't know where else to put it, but hopefully that's fine. So comps: top lane Volibear versus Renekton, jungle Graves versus Lee Sin, mid lane Twisted Fate versus Syndra, bot lane Ezreal Bard versus Ashe Nautilus. So right now, looking at these comps, I will say it's a relatively, well, for G2, like their DPS isn't that impressive. So they have some elements of burst, but they're more like utility based than actual DPS. Like Graves does good DPS. Twisted Fate, if he gets ahead, can, but if he gets ahead. Ezreal, obviously, he's more of like a pokey, kind of little damage AD carry, not more like an Ashe that just does bombardments of DPS damage throwing through. Again, DPS stands for damage per second. Volibear does decent damage, but not, obviously, he's more like a tank bruiser than a damage bruiser. And then SN's team, well, Renekton is more about damage, arguably. You know, he's not exactly a tank, he is more about damage. Lee Sin is about damage, that if he doesn't do well, he kind of falls off. Syndra is DPS mage, high burst as well. Ashe, again, high damage AD carry, has lack of mobility, but that's why she can do more damage. It's kind of like her kit is made up because of that. And then Nautilus brings a lot of utility. So based on comp, again, I do not know the result of this game or anything. I've literally avoided it for this video. Based on comp, I'd probably give SN comp advantage if, and this is only if, the Lee Sin and Renekton do well in the early. Volibear will naturally outscale a Renekton in kind of two ways. One, teamfight pressure. A Volibear will have more teamfight pressure than Renekton moving later into the game. Volibear can disable turrets and enable those tower dives. And also just purely because of scaling, Renekton does fall off, and you can already see in top lane, Renekton is not actually having a great time. He's getting zoned a little bit by the Volibear. The minion wave is built up too much, and if Renekton decided to take a fight into that Volibear, he probably would just die. And then Lee Sin again versus Graves, there's no competition there. A Lee Sin, if he doesn't get ahead of a Graves, he is going to struggle. Graves arguably, like, I don't know, like that champion, it's interesting to me. Like, he used to be an AD carry, obviously got moved to jungle. I still think his passive is very weird, or his E passive at least, that he can have stacking armor, which is like an insane amount of armor. I don't know why like an AD carry type jungler has that, because he gets tankier than people that actually build armor. Meanwhile, so far, Volibear doing a good job in the 1v1. And Jankos on Graves looking up to gank. Big fight, potentially, Scuttle Crab. And you can see the Graves is just bailing. Probably a call from Caps in mid lane on Twisted Fate going, I've got no pressure. Syndra's just going to come over, leave the Scuttle Crab. And for now, by the way, I'm just going to leave it paused. Muted, just so we can just kind of talk about our own thing. If there's stuff that I kind of run out of talk about, then I'll put like the sound on. Hopefully that's not too bad. Again, this is just the way that we've got to do this type of content. Let me know if I'm going to do future content. You have to like the video to let me know you want me to do this more. Let me know if there's anything different you'd want, because I'll be open to obviously anything. Worth noting, if you're relatively new to the channel, or like even if you're not, you may have forgotten or you may not know, I do have a tiny connection to G2 in the way that I used to play kind of semi-pro, semi-competitive, whatever way you want to say it, League of Legends tournaments when I took League the game more seriously. Before I was like a proper content creator, I had more time to like play solo queue without caring about streaming or YouTube videos. I used to play in tournaments and stuff like that. And I used to play for a team called Absolute Zero. I played for a couple teams, but Absolute Zero was the more well-known one. And one of the teammates in that team was Duffman. Now, if you're a G2 fan, you'll probably already recognize that name. If you're not, Duffman is currently, and has been for a while, the head analyst of G2. So, you know, what does a head analyst do? He's the guy that scouts basically all the opposition in the tournament, whatever they may be in, and also kind of predicts things, makes comps with the coaches to be like, that beats that. Kind of goes really into the data, and also will be looking into the players of what their strengths and weaknesses are as well. So it's a very important role. You know, he'll be at Worlds, I presume, in the back room right now with the coaching staff, because he is literally one of like the head guys there. And so it's pretty cool. So like when people say, who do I support? Again, I don't watch pro play too much, but I want G2 to do well, mainly because of Duffman. And I think he's been at like, before he went G2, then I think he got offered a role at TSM. And then now for the past couple of years, he's been back at G2. I think that rings a bell. So far the game, by the way, top lane Volibear advantage, which I will say, it surprises me a little bit. Meanwhile, Lee Sin getting completely caught out. Mickey's with the roam on Bard. Lee Sin flashes the stun and will make his way out. And you can see this heavy, aggressive playstyle that both supports are near the mid area of the map at 5-6 minutes. You can tell this isn't exactly a solo queue game, but even with, like, we've been doing those spectating Korea plays more recently on Challenger servers and stuff. It's very Korea kind of element based, and that's maybe why so many people think Korea is the better solo queue. Graves, though, getting completely caught out, is going to go down to first blood. Very, very, very questionable invade there. You could clearly see Caps as a mid lane on Twisted Fate, and you could just see Syndra walking to go help. So that was a bit questionable by Jankos. Will go down. Volibear, by the way, first light in Bramble Vest. Anti-healing, quite effective versus Renekton, who has obviously passive healing with his Q. And yeah, so Caps now against a out-of-mana Syndra. Can he push any type of advantage in a 1v1? The answer is probably no. The thing with Twisted Fate is I think he's one of League's kind of most complex champions, even though his kit's relatively basic, in the fact that Twisted Fate loses pretty much every single 1v1 in mid. But in the history of League of Legends, he is known as one of the best mid laners in the game. So a lot of people who, especially who are new to the game, may be like, how does that make sense? He loses basically every matchup, but he's one of the best mid laners, huh? It's all about global pressure. Twisted Fate, as a mid laner, is not designed to win the 1v1. He's designed to win the map. So what we'll hopefully see this game, because obviously we've not seen G2 really do much yet, is we'll see Caps roam. Arguably, bot lane is the place he'll go most, because bot lane has double chance for a kill. So if you roam top lane, there's only one kill you can get. If you go bot lane, there's in minimum 2. So that's why a lot of the time, global ultimates, Shen, you know, Pantheon, and all these, Twisted Fate, they like going bot lane with them, because there's more kills to get with a global ultimate in bot lane than just going one place. So Lee Sin, level 6, is trying to push his advantage. He is spotted out, though, by the Bard. This is going to be interesting. Okay, he does get the smite, so the Lee Sin doesn't steal. Graves, now level 6, will have a bit more confidence to fight the Lee Sin in the 1v1. And Lee Sin straight onto the dragon. Probably just because he saw the Graves smite, the red, and they probably know now that he doesn't have smite available. Thus, straight onto this dragon, and that will be a early infernal advantage for SN, which obviously is quite a good advantage. Big fight potentially coming out, though. Nautilus flashes away pretty damn quick. Ezreal may chase, but out of mana. Bard going to go down. Not going to get anything because there's a tower, and you're all level 5 or level 6. Tower diving isn't the exactly easy thing. So G2 dropping the ball a little bit there, allowing the dragon to go over to SN. And the gold lead, again, it's not catastrophic. It's a 300-400 gold lead right now for SN. But as I mentioned earlier, I think SN has an earlier team comp. They have Lee Sin, Renekton. So is it a bad thing that they get ahead in the early game? Well, yeah, you don't want anyone to get ahead in the early game. But if you know you're G2 and you have a good scaling comp, It's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, so in the bottom right, I think you go, oh, my camera might have just been blocking that, but why Twisted Fate didn't join that fight? Syndra stopped him. QE combo, just stunned a Twisted Fate while he was ulting under his tower to go join the fight. Just completely stopped, not allowed, and there we go. So you already can kind of see how the game is going. Volibear slight advantage, which again does surprise me. Maybe Renekton just can't do enough damage to a Volibear, I guess. Graves a little bit down on farm, which he shouldn't be down on farm, but maybe because of the death he is. Mid lane, Cap's down around 10 farm. That's no surprise. He has to be careful of a Syndra. And then Ezreal slightly above in farm, which that's really good, actually. Meanwhile, tower damage onto the Volibear gets hit twice, I think, maybe 3 times because of the stun. Has to be careful of that because, you know, a free death is not what you want. I've always said, where's the worst deaths you can have, and both supports, by the way, back in mid lane. Bard nearly getting caught, doesn't in the end. The worst death that you can have, even in solo queue or pro play, 1v1 deaths. If you want to climb, even in solo queue, or if you want to be the world's champions, do not have 1v1 deaths. Your top laner should never die in a 1v1 to the other top. Your mid laner should never die 1v1 to the other mid. That's like the core feature of like being okay at League of Legends. Do not die in a 1v1. If you get ganked and stuff, it's like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, big play happening. Lee Sin, oh, Jankos goes over the wall. Big play actually happening. 1 kill goes down on the Nautilus with the Ezreal teleport. Lee Sin does get the Graves, does go down also to the Ezreal though. And you can see the rotation from G2 is actually quite fast. Volibear beating the Renekton to the pressure that they both don't get involved, but Volibear would have got there first. That's really good rotations. Like, they're in the enemy territory. Meanwhile, Syndra actually getting caught in the enemy jungle. Has to be careful, though. She gets a big ultimate off. Perks is nearly dead, doesn't die in the end. And that's really good picks. No idea why Syndra was actually in G2's jungle there. Big mistakes coming out by SN. Really good play by G2. And what you're already seeing is, like, G2's willingness to group. So like really early grouping, bot lane stayed, or bot lane went to go there. Ezreal uses TP away from bot lane and then gets a couple kills, and then they don't go base straight away. They look for a Syndra together as 3 people. You know, if that was a 1v1, Ezreal would have died, or Twisted Fate probably would have died, but they stick together. And that's where they just gained a little advantage and actually now have taken the gold lead. And in all that, by the way, because of the advantage that the Ezreal had in bot lane with farm, Ashe still actually hasn't caught up in farm. So this is really good. So what's happening now is G2 probably are feeling a little bit more confident. So they're going to put the Ezreal Bard mid, and they're going to put Twisted Fate versus Ashe. A couple of reasons. Ezreal, well, the duo in mid lane can have more pressure than a Twisted Fate right now, like just getting a kill or getting a pick. And Twisted Fate can join them with his ultimate. It can't really happen the other way around now that Ezreal's teleport is down. So they're putting Ezreal in more of a featured spot in mid, and Twisted Fate can just farm in bot lane. He's got good wave clear. He can just out-farm an Ashe or just stop an Ashe. Renekton will just run away to the Bard. But what we don't want is, you can see Ezreal, by the way, is helping with the Rift Herald. We need to make sure, like, well, G2 need to make sure that their farm is maintaining. So you can see mid lane, it's a bigger farm gap is developing because Twisted Fate has just been walking around the jungle a little bit, not really farming. Meanwhile, Syndra was still in mid lane for a while. So they've got to make sure their gold income is still increasing. You see Ashe is now farming in mid. Right now, Ezreal is not farming. He's running to mid. So this is where, like, gold, you can see right now, red team, SN has just taken, basically, they're now even in gold. G2 was 500 gold ahead a few minutes ago, or a minute ago, and because of the lack of farm from G2 for the past minute, they've caught up. Constantly look for gold. When we do Challenger Spectates, that's another key thing of those is Challenger people don't just sit around in a bush making no money. They are constantly making money. If they're not, well, that's bad. They're not getting items and stuff. So worth knowing that. Right, so what's going to happen? So Volibear, by the way, build. He is splitting up his build a lot. So normally component building is not the best thing to do. Meanwhile, Lee Sin straight on the dragon. G2 just don't seem to be interested in fighting early yet, which I'm not surprised. Again, they know they have a better probably scaling comp. They might be going for a dive. Forces a ghost use out of Twisted Fate with his spell book. They get the Rift Herald though. Summoned up in top lane, which will break the tower, which is nice. Or actually may not break the tower in the end. Plates are falling in 20 seconds, so Volibear is going to try and maximize the plates that he can get. He probably should kill the tower. Not sure if he's going to get the technical final plate, though. Meanwhile, Ashe also getting plates in bot lane. So what I'd like, and this is the frustrating thing of not having the replay, I'd love if they actually press the gold button now. Like, you press X when you're watching a replay. I'd love to see the gold breakdown, because even though Ashe is 000 and Ezreal's 201, I'd wager that Ashe is actually either ahead in gold on the Ezreal or very close, because that Ashe has been getting solo plates. Practically every single plate that is down in bot lane, she has got by herself. So that's a lot of gold income, you know, that Ezreal I don't think has really got. So it'd be interesting to know, but obviously, unfortunately, because we have no replay control over this, we don't know and we can't really find out. Now, one thing you will notice as well with the Lee Sin's items, he's building tanky. So this is something that is worth knowing, the difference between pro play and solo queue. A solo queue Lee Sin is going to build damage. You know, that's the whole point. But a pro Lee Sin, they have decent damage, but a lot of the time they're playing Lee Sin for utility rather than damage, because everyone knows he falls off. So why would you build full damage on something in pro play that you know they're going to fall off? So Lee Sin's kick is still one of the best engaging tools in the game. If you manage to catch somebody important, you get an insect kick on them, you know, the flash kick or the ward kick that person into your team, they can just die instantly. That's still one of the best tools in the game for doing that. And it's easier, arguably, to pull off that when you're tanky, that you won't just get one shot when you go into the enemy team. Meanwhile, Volibear, probably maybe the richest person in the game right now, decent farm, killed top lane tower with the help of the Bard's Rift Herald, and now in bot lane also getting a bunch more farm and also nearly killing the bot lane tower. Probably not going to get it yet, though, but there's that. Item wield, oh, whoa, Lee Sin, that was interesting. So has to use his flash, very, very aggressive play. Also could be in trouble here. He kicks Jankos away because, yeah, he's out of position. A little bit too aggressive by him, and he will go away. They do get mid lane tower, though, which opens up the map completely for SN. Arguably the most important tower in the map if you're winning a game is the mid lane tier 1. It just opens the map more. It gives you pressure on the enemy's jungle entrances more than any other map. Meanwhile, Engage coming, Bard misses, Ashe has to flash, Gold card coming up by Twisted Fate, not going to get anything with it, probably not even landing it, does do a little bit of damage here or there. And reminding people with Twisted Fate, you do max your Q, not your card, because Q is more of your wave clear, more of your poke. The gold is, well, the card obviously is more for your like utility, it does decent damage with the blue card, but most of the time you're using probably gold when you're actually actively fighting. And that will be that. So when would I predict G2 to start making actually plays with their comp? I think we're coming up to it about 20 minutes into the game. Maybe you're looking for Ezreal's second item, which he just got. Maybe you're looking for Graves to get his Black Cleaver. Maybe you're looking for these key items to come in that you start feeling a bit more confident with the comp as a whole. Twisted Fate maybe wants Lichbane. So I would presume... Oh, here we go. Total gold. Oh, okay. So Syndra just ahead of the Volibear in gold. Then the Ezreal. Where's the Ashe? So Ashe, again, not far away. And obviously G2 just made money getting the mid lane tower and stuff. So my prediction of Ashe actually not being far behind, or even may have been ahead at that time, may have been correct. Big play coming in. Renekton overextending. May get away. Don't think they've got the damage to kill him yet. And that will happen. Ezreal with a questionable teleport. And... yeah, that was maybe an overcommitment by G2. We did see Ashe Arrow, so it might have even been like SN were looking to make a play too, but that just kind of fills us out. Dragon is up in just over a minute. I would predict that G2 are probably going to fight for this dragon, but they probably need to go back first. Back, buy items, try to get as strong as you possibly can just before the dragon, and maybe look to fight it. And also, maybe they won't fight this dragon. It's going to be interesting. So they are looking for mid lane pressure. When the dragon's coming up or an objective coming up. Oh, big engage. Oh, he's hit the Bard ultimate. Lee Sin kicking them just to try and get the Syndra away. Nice Bard stun. That is probably going to be the end of the fight, but decent damage comes in. The more damage you can do right now, it's 25 roughly seconds till dragon, the more likely you're going to get the dragon. So that's actually not bad. You have to be careful, though, without Bard ultimate in this big team fight upcoming. But if they can get pressure, they're walking over, they're clearing the vision. You can't get, obviously, rid of the Scuttle Crab vision. And they do get a plant, so they have regen actually quite a lot. But any poke you can get now is good. And also pushing up the minion wave so the minions are at least crashing on the tower is two things. One, you're helping kill the tower. Secondly, it's denying gold if the enemy team aren't killing the minions and the tower is. So Dragon has been started, so the prediction of them actually fighting this is correct. They have to turn to fight this. Nautilus engages. Ezreal gets completely caught. Nautilus then use stopwatch. Volibear jumping in. Graves does get the kill on Nautilus. Volibear goes down to the Syndra. Unfortunate fight so far for G2. Dragon is going to go through. The only chance they can get this is a random steal, or if Graves actually wanted to jump in, he's got Smite up available now. He isn't in vision. Can he get this steal? Yes, they can with Twisted Fate. Wow, okay. Neither jungler gets it. Twisted Fate caps, does take that Dragon, which I would say is actually quite important. Very important. Ocean Dragon, arguably the dragon you want. The most, maybe, if you're behind. Because you could take, if he fights, and let's say you just survive, but then Ocean Dragon can regen you back up. Obviously, if you're ahead, Ocean Dragon might not even matter because you just kill the enemy team. So yeah, Ezreal getting completely caught, chain CC'd. Like, his positioning is what cost him that then, because he got Nautilus Q ulted, I think, and then Syndra stunned. He had no time to leave. He was just in the wrong place. But really good steal upcoming. The replay by again, they're not my sponsors, but I guess it's a world sponsor. Graves goes in, look for the steal. Enemy team don't have vision, and then Twisted Fate, with his Q of all things, does actually take it. Lee Sin was actually looking for that. He wasn't on the Graves at the time. So that arguably is quite bad by Lee Sin to actually let that dragon go. We'll also say, I have no idea how long this game is. The video of this cutted game was like an hour and something. But, like, it was, like, 20 minutes. It took, like, 20 minutes or something to them to actually get into the game. So I have no idea how long this game is going to be. You can see the gold graph, by the way, is now in SN's favor. And Twisted Fate making a play. What can they do? Red card comes out, questionable. Gargoyle has been popped by Nautilus, which makes him very tanky. Nice stun by Bard. Bard then doing an E to block off the enemy team. G2 need to catch up. Will get the Syndra. Really nice pick with that Lichbane damage now coming through. And Baron is the call straight away after that kill on Syndra, which is the correct call. I don't know how quick they can do it. They have, again, okay DPS-ish, but as I said, they're not like a DPS comp. They're more about utility picks than actual doing damage all the time. So Ezreal going to go aggressive on the Lee Sin. Very good idea. Get the jungler out of the way. He has to flash. Nautilus now engaging. Ezreal gets caught by the Ash Arrow, and that is, again, a little bit of a mess. Ezreal making a couple positional mistakes this game. You know, it was a good idea for him to do damage on the Lee Sin, but I think he overcommitted in the end. He should have done a bit of damage and then returned to his team for safety, because what happened there is they went on the Renekton, 3 of them, and then Graves came over to help but realized this is a bad idea, so they were just completely split, like completely. The Renekton did a really good job of like holding the team's attention, and that just stopped the Baron. So again, replay of the play that's happening. Red card, slight mistake. If that was gold card, maybe Nautilus would have gone down. Nice Ezreal ultimate into a Bard combo. And they do get a really good Syndra pick. She's trying to do her best, but as you can see there, that control ward, by the way, that control ward's on purpose. That control ward, if you place it on one of those bouncy plants, whatever the hell they're called, it actually can deny them to actually use it, because when they right-click to auto-attack the plant, it's actually clicking the ward. So that's just a little tip there for you guys. If you're like, oh god, they're going to get away, just throw a control ward on the plant and they can't click it. It's the same with Thresh Lanterns and stuff like that. Sometimes you can position it well enough that they just can't click the lantern or something. So Twisted Fate, what you will start to see, by the way, is with playstyles, Twisted Fate will start building a farm lead. So even though he was 20 farm down in lane phase, he has now got a farm lead. He has to still be careful of the 1v1, really, with Syndra, but just the way the champions work. He can side lane and join a fight instantly with his ultimate. Syndra this game, as you can notice, has taken teleport because of that. She can't not take teleport against a Twisted Fate. He just brings too much utility, and at this point of the game, you know it's going to happen. Twisted Fate is going to side lane, push up the lane. If you don't answer the Twisted Fate, he'll kill towers. He actually kills towers quite fast. If you do answer him, well, then they'll look for an engage with a Bard ultimate, and Twisted Fate will teleport near the Bard ultimate. And then that could leave the mid laner, Syndra, in the side lane going, oh, my Twisted Fate's gone to roam and without me, and they get a kill and I don't. So that's why Syndra has to have teleport this game, is to at least be able to follow the Twisted Fate. But obviously, Twisted Fate, worth knowing, has teleport and he's got his ultimate. So Twisted Fate can do it twice basically within each 5 minutes. One is ultimate, one teleport. Syndra only can do it once. So that is worth knowing. So item builds, I haven't really touched upon them. Lee Sin actually going for a Knight's Vow second item, by the way. Yes, it's that much pro play. It's about helping your team. It saves the Nautilus buying one, in essence. Or if Nautilus does buy one, they can split up which one they give. One to Syndra, one to Ashe, if they wanted to do that. Other than that, a lot of, 2 Black Cleavers for G2, Volibear actually, which... Again, it's probably because of pro play. Obviously, Triforce is quite good on Volibear, but Black Cleaver denies armor. And it denies armor on the target, I think, for all teammates. So that is to help his whole team rather than just himself. Triforce will probably help himself more. But anyway, Nautilus looks for engage, does get caught out, pops his Gargle, is tanky mode. Volibear does jump in. Nautilus now doesn't have his Gargle, so he can go down pretty quick. Will go down to the Volibear. Bard Ultimate does a really good job of stopping the enemy team. Lee Sin going to go in. Renekton nearly dead, not dead yet. The damage is coming through by the Syndra. They do go down. Ashe high DPS. And you can just see the damage difference in an actual fight. G2, as I mentioned, have got good picks, got good burst in some elements, but they just don't have that, like, oomph damage that I think they're missing. Especially when they're just... The Nautilus is doing such a good job soaking all the early damage of the fight. He pops Gargoyle, and then all the damage from G2 just doesn't really exist. They can't kill him. And then Nautilus takes up more of their time instead of them killing the Syndra quicker, or the Ashe quicker, or the Lee Sin. And obviously the Lee Sin himself is also got a relatively tanky build. So for G2 to win this game, I would say every single fight that's gone bad for them practically has been the same outcome. Has the Nautilus been engaging? They then focus the Nautilus, and then they lose the fight to the rest of SN doing more damage because they're all just trying to kill a tanky Nautilus with Gargoyle. So for them to win the game, they've got to stop focusing this Nautilus, which is hard, obviously, because he's right in your face, but that's just the way that you're probably going to have to do it. So this is the Lee Sin's perspective. He is looking probably right now for either the Lee Sin, the Ezreal or the thingy. He finds the Ezreal, kicks him into his team, does a decent amount of damage, also finishes off the Grave. So that was a really nice, patient play by the Lee Sin, looking for the correct targets. Will pick up also, I think, a assist maybe on the Twisted Fate. So overall, really good play by SM. They have now got a over 2,000 gold lead, which isn't disastrous, but it's not bad. They look for a pick, that would have been a big pick. That would probably have been Baron if Lee Sin went down, but they don't get him in the end, and that would just be a disengage. Twisted Fate probably should go back to side lane very soon. It's looked like G2 has had like maybe a little bit of an advantage when they look for these kind of outnumbered engages, but that's not happening when they're fighting around a dragon or something like that, because everybody's going to be there. But right now, Syndra doesn't have teleport. Twisted Fate will have ultimate quicker than Syndra has teleport available again. So what G2 should look to do is put Twisted Fate in a side lane when he has ultimate up, and then when it's up, look for a play. If Syndra's stuck in a side lane, you then have number advantage, and maybe you can get a kill that way, or get a pick or whatever. So that is what I predict they're going to look to do. Because right now, look what's happening. It's the same grouping situation. Syndra's back in mid lane. G2's now not making gold. And that's unfortunate, They've got to basically side lane in order to win this game. So they are giving, it looks like they're giving Ezreal the blue, mainly just because he's lower maybe on mana. They want to keep him in the game. They don't want to make him go back, so they are just giving him blue just to get that up. And obviously Twisted Fate has blue card available. He doesn't have to have blue. It's good on him, but he does have tools to get his mana back. So Twisted Fate just hanging around the jungle, maybe doing wolves. It's hard to tell on the minimap there. But I am surprised with the lack of side laning so far. The Volibear obviously is side laning, but has now dipped in farm compared to the Renekton, which that is surprising. Because right now in the 1v1, I would predict Volibear has kill pressure on Renekton. Now, what I would say, does he have kill pressure versus is he going to kill Renekton? They are two different things. Volibear right now in a pure 1v1 would most likely kill Renekton. Is that ever going to happen? Probably not. Because it would take a while for him to kill the Renekton, and it's pro play. So the Renekton knows he probably loses the 1v1, so he'll never take a fight against Volibear. And even if there was a fight, well, the whole enemy team and the whole friendly team by G2 will all be heading there anyway. Like, it'll never be a 1v1. So Vision score, Bard doing insanely well with Vision comparing to the Nautilus. Ashe, they're not doing bad herself, but I do actually, is Vision score just wards, or is Vision score like, does it pop up just when you show enemies that you shouldn't technically see? Because I wonder if Ashe's Hawk Shot actually works for vision score. I presume it doesn't, but it might, because that would be kind of funny if it did. But yeah, nice vision by Bard, and obviously vision is what wins games. Vision is the difference between you getting caught versus you catching the enemy team. So make sure you're getting wards. It's actually a weakness that I always have, is like forgetting to buy a control ward when I probably could have bought one, but it is important. And Nautilus may, okay, yeah, has to be a little bit careful. He is by himself, but just has that, like, I don't know, confidence of being as tanky as he is. He can just kind of chill. Worth also knowing, Nautilus's boots. Boots of Swifties on a Nautilus. Not Ninja Tabby, not Merc Treads. He's gone boots of Swifties. Why? It's all about that engage. It's all about landing that Q. It's all about just getting that ultimate on somebody that sometimes you're just that far away from it landing and you just can't do it. Well, Boots of Swifties is going to help you more. It's going to help you more than Mobies because you're faster in combat. And it's obviously you're faster also than having Ninja Tabby or Mercs. He probably also doesn't care about being tankier with those boots because he's got Gargoyle Stoneplate. He's tanky enough. Right, so Dragons coming up in 15. G2 have to fight this because it's the soul. Lee Sin getting a little bit poked, but nothing crazy because, again, he's quite tanky. Now it's a bit more damage because a bit more focus. Nautilus flashing does find the Graves. Renekton engaging from the backside. Graves goes down really early just before the Dragon. Caps doing is good enough to kiting, but you can see there's just the damage difference. G2 have to poke this out. Nice stun by... Ooh, doesn't get the stun, doesn't get the slow, though. Ashe has to flash away. They have to poke. They cannot let this dragon go through. Ocean Dragon, again, is very strong. It would be really good to get it on G2. Engage happening. I don't know if that gold card was intended for Nautilus. I think it was intended for Lee Sin, but G2 doing a good job. Renekton engaging, does get the Bard, but that's worth it so far. Ashe then in the wrong place, will get caught out by the Volley Bear. Meanwhile, though, Syndra has re-teleported into the fight. Gold card going to come through. Ezreal will go down. Caps also nearly goes down to the EQ. I think even just the E combo. And all of that, the Lee Sin, survives. Who is the jungler? Who is the important one to get the dragon? And that will mean SN, likely, unless another steal can happen, will get this Ocean Soul. Teleport is coming. Twisted Fate has no vision. Doesn't do enough. Enemy team do get it. And yes, they do get the soul. Volley Bear, arguably a bad idea, but the enemy team also disengage. So now G2 looking in trouble. 2,000 gold lead for SN, which that has come down, which is good. But they now do have the dragon. But yeah, that gold card, man, I think Caps mucked up. I think Caps intended that gold card to be for Lee Sin, but he accidentally clicked the Nautilus because his model's just bigger. Because that would have been the difference probably of getting that dragon or not potentially. But oh well. So Syndra also with a good teleport. And that's obviously what teleport can do for you, is you can go into fights. If Syndra had Ignite there, that would have been bad because she would have been running to the fight instead of just teleporting straight into it. So there's the damage dealt. So Ezreal does a good job amount of damage, good poke, etc. He had a good ultimate early into the fight as well. Then the Ashe, and then Renekton actually doing a decent amount of damage too. You know, throw Renekton into a pile of squishies. Even in late game, he's going to be doing a lot of damage. When we talk about scaling, by the way, Renekton, we're talking about like, Renekton is supposed to be a lane bully. He can't bully like other bruisers basically later into the game. Most of them will just outscale him in the pure bully nature of the champions or the 1v1 or being tanky. He just gets outscaled. But he's a good champion. I like Renekton quite a lot. It's just I wish he had better scaling. Arguable positioning by Ezreal. If the enemy team do break into this base because they don't have Ezreal available to help farm the wave, that would be a bit weird. Having to use his teleport to come back in. Bard looking for an ultimate does get it. Bard going down. Syndra uses ultimate on Bard. That's bad. This is a big chance for G2 actually to win this fight. They have to maybe even look to go more in. Enemy team re-engaging with Renekton and Ashe Arrow. Perks doesn't go down. Will get the kill, the enemy team on Volley Bear. Enemy team going low. They don't get the Ezreal shut down. Double kill for Ezreal. That was really big. So SN's mid laner used Syndra ult on Bard and didn't get the Bard. That's huge. Like, that is actually really big. So that gave G2 the more pressure to be like, wait, we can fight. You know, there isn't that kill that kill chance that Syndra has just to randomly press R on one of our carries and them to instantly die. Because, you know, Syndra. So that was arguably a mistake by the Syndra to use that, and especially not to get the kill. But anyway, That's a nice comeback a little bit for G2, making the gold lead. You know, it's coming down, 1.5k gold now, and as I said earlier, G2's comp is probably better in the late game, just how the champions work. Enemy, ooh, Renekton looking a little bit in trouble. Don't think they've got the damage to kill him, though. Again, the nature of the tankier builds in pro play. You just can't one-shot, you know. It's a lot harder to one-shot here than it is in solo queue. Just because people, you know, why is that, by the way? It's because people are worried. If you go full damage in pro play and you get one shot, you look like an idiot. And, you know, when you're talking about all these crazy contracts that are running around, no pro wants to be looking like an idiot and get dropped. You know, there's even been a report recently that, you know, when like teams have their A team, which is their pro team, and they've got an academy team, there's been a report that the pro players will refuse to scrim the academy teams now. Why? Because if the academy player outperforms them in a scrim, they're just going to get dropped for the academy player. Like, pros are that worried about getting dropped, and I don't blame them. You know, I think the average contract for even North American LCS, which, you know, we all can kind of laugh about sometimes NA's performances in international tournaments. I think the average contract is like $400,000, something like that. It might even be more now. Anyway, Baron has been begun. Bard getting Ash Arrowed, which again is questionable. G2 have to go for this fight. Ash Arrow has been used. That's a big engage tool down for SN. What can G2 do? They're stopping the Baron, which is good. If you're G2 right now, you don't have to take this fight. All you're looking to do is delay the game more. He gets rid of that plant. That was a risky move by Volibear, though, but that's fine. Mid lane tier 1, by the way, hasn't gone down yet. Look at their health. They have had very little pressure in the map in itself. Lee Sin engaging on the Volibear, doing a bit of damage, but actually getting out-traded overall. Caps coming in with his teleport. With that gold card, does get slowed. Unfortunately, his movement speed does get ruined, but now has his RFC. So RFC Twisted Fate, obviously it's an AD carry item naturally, but what does it do? It increases the range of your next auto attack every few seconds, and that includes your card. So you could hover gold card and basically have a double range gold card out of like nowhere, which obviously is very, very strong. So that's why Twisted Fate does buy the item. It's purely for the range. He doesn't really care for the attack speed. He doesn't obviously care about the crit. He cares about the range. But anyway, what can G2 do moving forward? Ezreal by himself, he naturally Perks has actually gone to side lane quite a lot this game. You can see the farm lead actually for Ashe is actually quite impressive. It's mainly because if you're watching when SN are grouping, they're giving everything to the Ashe. It doesn't even look like they're contesting. Like Syndra, you can see, is over there. She's not even attempting to farm. They are just giving the farm to the Ashe. And obviously that's, again, a difference between solo queue and coordinated play, is in solo queue, you all will be competing with each other, be like, I want this farm. No, I want this farm. When pro play, they're like, no, give it to the Ashe. It's the Ashe's farm. Just to get the Ashe full build, because Ashe has, as I've said earlier, one of the highest DPS AD carries in the game. If you're allowing Ashe just to basically stand still and auto attack, her damage output is very scary. Enemy team might be looking for an engage here. They do spot the Renekton below them, which has been quite a common thing for this Renekton to be kind of underneath them, to flank above, to just kind of create a little bit of chaos, really. So G2 should kind of cop onto that. And enemy team obviously looking for pressure. Why? Elder Dragon, everybody, is in 6 seconds. Now, this is the tool that a lot of people... Ash Arrow comes through. Ezreal may get caught. Doesn't actually come out of it too badly. Do think he had to use his QSS. Lee Sin getting gold carded. Really good Bard ultimate. Slows down the fight. Lee Sin by himself. And Lee Sin arguably by himself, by the way. Is getting stunned. Can they do enough damage? Tanky Lee Sin will survive for now. G2 need to look to extend this fight and poke. They've got really good poke with this Ezreal. Even good poke with this Twisted Fate. That's how they're going to get the advantage. But the problem with that, meanwhile, Renekton flash engaging... Renekton doesn't get the kill, is that the SN have got Ocean Soul. They're going to be regenning the poke. But Elder Dragon is the tool that is very controversial, that people either love or hate it. I'm not a massive fan of it because it feels a bit cheesy to me. But Twisted Fate going back, by the way, or not actually going back, ulting, is going to do a decent amount of damage. Syndra's going to go down. Really big pick there. G2 have to push this advantage and actually probably try to get the dragon. Lee Sin getting caught out. Nautilus re-engaging. Sorry, Volibear jumps into the fight. Lee Sin kick goes down. Ezreal going quite aggressive, looking for the Lee Sin. Doesn't get it so far. And they will turn their attention to the dragon, which I would say is still risky. They're not. Look at the regen. Look at that Lee Sin's regen. He's just regenning his whole health bar. G2, to get this, have to fight. They have a number advantage. They have to turn and fight. Gold card doesn't come out yet. Dragon is going down. This is going to be huge. Whoever gets this dragon. Lee Sin has to be the priority. Enemy team re-engaging. Asher comes through. QSS not used so far. Big fight actually happening. Ezreal, big ultimate. Ash goes down with the Bard ultimate. Dragon also pretty low. Lee Sin is still alive. Volibear doing a lot of work here. Lee Sin has to die. They have to kill him before the dragon's low. Oh my god, are they going to get him? They are going to get him. Dragon's going to go for G2. That is near enough an ace apart from Renekton for G2, and they get the Elder Dragon. Bottom left, everybody. That guy on the right, that's Duffman. The guy in the suit with the white shirt, that's Duffman. He's my old teammate. See, he is at Worlds. But there we go. G2 doing a really good job. They have the comp, as I mentioned at the beginning. They have the outscale. They have really good utility, so they have to kind of... G2's comp isn't about like just jumping into a middle of fight, doing a lot of ROG damage, and everyone dies. They have to play it really smart. They have to kind of run in and out, wait for gold cards, wait for picks, wait for Bard stuns, and they've got to play it really well, because if they don't, and a Renekton Nautilus gets into the middle of them, Lee Sin gets a good kick, they're in trouble. But they actually played it awesome. So really well done to G2. What was interesting to me was the juggling of the dragon. Is that they were juggling the dragon, taking damage from the dragon, and also fighting at the same time. Nautilus Assault goes over the Twisted Fate as we saw, but that was a really big pick on the Ashe. Ezreal, this fight, really good positioning. You can see he's saying safety. He's got the Renekton's attention. He jumps away from the Renekton right at the last second and just completely kind of gets Renekton out of the fight. So that was really good by Perks, actually. And there's the damage dealt. So yeah, Ezreal's damage, as we said, he did a really good fight. 10,000 damage in one fight alone. Syndra, 300 damage. That's the difference, you know? And that's the thing also with Syndra. She arguably also kind of falls off. In League of Legends, you know, yeah, you can kill one person really fast. Well, in pro play, naturally... It's about building tankier than you normally do in solo queue. So can even Syndra one-shot things in late game? Probably not. And then secondly, some champions, it's not great if you only can kill one champion in pro play. You want to kill 3 or 4 champions as the carry, not just one. Syndra can just kind of kill one, if she can kill one. G2 pushing their advantage, by the way, amazingly well. Renekton completely out of position. One base tower does go down. G2 should probably continue this, but I would say they don't have to. The reason why they don't have to, as I mentioned earlier, they have a better comp moving into late game. SN know that. They actually did build up a farm lead. They got the Dragon Soul, but it just hasn't been enough. So what G2 should be, again, is obviously wary of the engage. There's the Ashe Arrow onto Jankos. Doesn't go down, though. Enemy team have no engage. They're not following up on this. Volibear jumps in, disables the tower. Now G2 have to look to fight. Volibear does go down very quickly, though. They're playing the fight kind of wrong, G2. As I mentioned earlier, their whole comp is about in and out kind of farming, poking, and what they just did there was jump in, and that's what SN wants to do. But now what you're seeing is maybe the bit more like in and out play. Lee Sin does get a nice kick. Ezreal now does go down, or is about to. It will go down, and Twisted Fate gonna do his best to break open the tower. Doesn't get it. Really close tower, but that's it. Like G2, you just saw they played the fight wrong. They played to jump in when their comp isn't about jumping in. Their comp is more about the Twisted Fate, Ezreal, Bard, kind of going in and out with their CC, with Ezreal with his poke. It's SN's territory when you're actually jumping in and having an actual, like, dogpile fight. So that's actually really bad. Don't know if that's going to be game. It might be. Like, we'll have to see. Obviously, G2 nearly broke the whole enemy base apart from the Nexus. One Nexus tower does remain. Tanking the towers is happening. What's the death timers? They're not going to be able to end. So Volibear's coming up now. Bard's coming up now. Graves is already up. But they are probably going to look to do as much as they can. You know, if they manage to pick one person here, then it's a big deal. Oh, they might actually end. Oh, maybe they can. So there's looking for the pick. They are protecting the towers as long as possible. SN going to do their best. Oh my god, they are going to try and end. Big fight damage is obviously going to happen. Ezreal does come back in. One base tower does go down. G2 have to try and turn this as much as they can. Ezreal with a decent amount of damage. Volibear doing his best to survive. Twisted Fate back up. SN have to probably focus. Oh my god, what's going to happen? Twisted Fate has to run at them. He's going to do his gold card. G2 have to fight this. They have to continue poke. These are the 3 champions that we've mentioned. Nice pick! Nautilus is going to go down. Oh my god, this is game. They're going to get the Renekton. No, they're not. They're going to turn on the Lee Sin. Doesn't get the gold card. Bard going to go for it. Ezreal. Whoa, Ezreal teleporting into the base. Oh my god, it's going to happen. G2 managing to hold this game out after it looking pretty bad, and Ezreal perks himself, will complete the game. Holy moly, that was a good game. Thanks to everybody who recommended me to watch this one. That was definitely worth it, and G2 do get the win. Holy moly, well done. Well done. So that was the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my first Worlds content. And obviously it's not ideal. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously having the game on mute the whole time, let me know if that was okay. That was a really good game, though. Well played to G2. And there was questionable things there. I think, you know, the fight before, I think they got a bit too overexcited. Guys, we've got momentum. We're going to win. We have Elder Dragon. Jump in. Wait a minute. Our comp isn't about jumping in. But overall, really good game by them. SN also played it quite well. But where did SN lose? Honestly, I think they mainly lost because of time. They just ran out of time based on comp. So there's that. So overall, really interesting game, really fun game to watch. If you guys did enjoy that, my first Worlds content, do throw a like on the video. Feel free also to recommend me more games to watch down below. I'm not going to obviously do a lot of them. I'm going to predict 1 or 2 games per week. May do like when it's kind of getting more to like the semi-final, quarter-final, final games. That was the wrong way around, but you know what I mean. Like when it's those games, we'll probably have a little watch of those a little bit more. But this was a really fun one to watch and start with. So if you guys enjoyed, throw a like on it, throw a subscribe, comment down below what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.